Solar-powered suitcases bring light to darkened classrooms in Kenya. How technology is helping to unleash the economic potential of Africa's youth. And volunteers help prepare Thanksgiving meals for the homeless on Los Angeles' Skid Row. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory. This is Africa 54. We'll have those stories in a moment, but first, Ethiopia has selected a former exile dissident to head its election board on Thursday. It's part of a dizzying shake-up by the new Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, that has brought rebels back into the political mainstream and curbed the establishment. The job went to Birtukan Mideksa just weeks after she returned from the United States under an amnesty announced by the Prime Minister, and 13 years after she was jailed in the violent aftermath of contested 2005 elections. Birtukan was once one of Ethiopia's most high-profile prisoners. The former judge was convicted of trying to overthrow the state after crowds took to the streets accusing the government of rigging the 2005 vote. Security forces opened fire, killing dozens of protesters. She was pardoned in 2007 after Amnesty International, other rights groups and some Western powers pressed for her release. But the pardon was revoked and her life sentence resumed a year later until another pardon in 2010. Birtukan will now lead efforts to organize the next vote scheduled for 2020. While violence in Cameroon has claimed at least 9 lives in 2 days, a Kenyan Catholic priest was killed Wednesday in Francophone Cameroon's volatile English-speaking southwest region, where violence has surged after separatists declared an independent state, according to church sources. Local media reported that Father Cosmas Omboto Ondari, a Mill Hill priest serving in the Diocese of Mamfe, was in church when he was shot. Meanwhile, armed men killed 8 people during an attack Thursday on French drilling company Faraco's Waters Well site in southwestern Niger. In a statement, Faraco said 5 other employees were wounded, with 2 in serious condition. Sources say the assailants were believed to belong to Nigerian terrorist group Boko Haram, which is active near the border with Nigeria. Well, now, solar-powered suitcases are bringing light to darkened classrooms and struggling students in Duro, Kenya. Before solar power, the alternatives were small tin kerosene lamps that are not only expensive to fill, but also have caused some health problems. Here's viewers Mariama Diallo.
The standalone solar-powered 12-volt suitcases are helping these students where electrical blackouts had been frequent.
You can continue their studies and you can extend our learning time.
And it's paying off. 8-year-old student Veronica Angayo says her grades have improved. The solar suitcases provided by the California-based charity We Care Solar have been deployed in schools in remote areas across Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa. They used to use kerosene lamps at this school. 8-year-old Lamek Ambale says they were no good.
It used to give me a lot of health problems, particularly in my chest and eyes, but this one has no health effects.
The school had previously been ranked as one of the lowest performing in the East African country. Now, head teacher Billy Azwani says the solar suitcases really do make a difference in student performance.
We used to have very few people proceeding to high school, but now we have almost everybody going to high school because they have enough time to read, enough light to read, and there's no problem.
The California charity that provides the solar suitcases has partnered with local NGO Change Matani.
We Share Solar program is special because the blue solar suitcases for education are built by secondary school students as part of their science and engineering lessons, and then donated to rural school or refugee camp in Kenya that lack electricity at all.
The blue suitcases come with solar panels, a battery, 6 LED lights, a USB port to charge mobile devices, and a USB chargeable headlamp. Mariama Diallo, VOA News.
The U.S. military says it killed 6 al-Shabaab militants in Somalia when it launched 2 airstrikes against targets near Hadarari town in Gulmudug state northeast of Mogadishu. A weapons cache was destroyed in the second airstrike on Wednesday, the U.S. military revealed on Thursday. Another 37 militants have been killed in 2 other airstrikes this week. The U.S. has ramped up its operations in Somalia, conducting more than 2,000 airstrikes in 2018 after President Donald Trump loosened the rules of engagement last year. Now, violence in the Tanganyika and South Kivu provinces in the Democratic Republic of Congo fuels one of the world's worst displacement crises for children. According to the UNICEF, at least 1.3 million people, including more than 800,000 children, have been displaced by inter-ethnic violence and clashes between the regular army, militia, and armed groups in the provinces. The DRC is now home to one of the largest displacement crises in the world for children. A new UN initiative, Youth, Peace and Security, is working to build bridges across communities. To tell us more about it, Dr. Senen Hunton, United Nations Population Fund representative in the DRC, one of the architects of the initiative, joins me now via Skype from Kalemi. Good evening, Dr. Hunton.
Good evening.
Now, tell us exactly what this initiative seeks to achieve and how you intend to achieve your objectives.
This is a very innovative and a resilient peace-building project, which aims to give hope to the youth here in Kalemi. Those young people, some of them have been involved in militia. And now we are building a program for them by which they can live together in peace. They can work together, and we find activities such as sport to bring them together. We have local peace committee where they work together. And most importantly, we develop entrepreneurship program for them, leadership program for them, and they work together between the Twa community and the Bantu community. We were able to do that because of the leadership of the government here. I am here with the Minister of Gender for Tanganyika and the Minister of Youth for Tanganyika. And it is under their leadership with the UN partner, the civil society, the faith-based organization that we were able to put together this project, which has been recognized by the Peace Building Fund as one of the best approaches to address the conflict situation here in Kalemi. And so far, we are very satisfied with what we are seeing. Young people from the Twa, the Bantu, they are getting together, they are working together. We observe today, for example, a soccer game. We see women's group from Twa and Bantu doing farming together. We have youth anticipating any issue that may lead to conflict and resolving them through the baraza. Those are some of the early results that we have seen. And then we try to scale up this.
Doctor, what do you do with the rebel groups that are armed and have always engaged in fighting, which sometimes really ends up disrupting communities, even with all the good intentions you may have?
This is the reason why we are working with the government of DRC and also MONUSCO. This is one of the actors actually participating in this project. So this part, they deal with that, the armed force and the MONUSCO. But as we are concerned as development actors, we work to make sure that we bring resilience to this community. Those women who have been raped, we need to bring them services, services, psychosocial services. All these women who have their farm destroyed, we need to bring them what we call actually farm kit. Those are equipment that help them to rebuild their life. And that's why this project, we work closely with WFP and FAO, because agriculture is actually the main resources of this.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Doctor, that's all the time we have. We thank you very much for joining us from Kalemi. I appreciate it very much. And that's Dr. Senen Hunton. He's the United Nations Population Fund representative in the DRC. Well, I want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we covered. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54. We're also streaming our show live on Facebook, so check us out and share our show with your friends. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince McCory. Still ahead on Africa 54, how tech is helping unleash the potential of the continent's youth. But first,
could be French,
English,
Portuguese,
Bantu,
Arabic.
It is the beat.
The African beat that counts.
The beat does all the translations.
It cuts across all languages and gives us the understanding that this is the African beat.
It is so distinct
and adhesive.
It binds us together.
African Beat on the Voice of America. For more information, visit our website at www.voanews.com/AfricanBeat.
Well, at 19, Alex Lando was beaten by U.S. police in Denver, Colorado after being stopped for an alleged traffic violation. Now, the incident transformed the young black man, and not just because he won a hefty judgment against the city. Now he teaches young people and their parents about civil rights. His own white parents reflect on what they now call their naivete in thinking they could protect their son from racial bias. In part 4 of our adoption series, Police Brutality, VOA's Claire Morin-Gibert reports and Haiti Adams Fitzpatrick narrates.
I was adopted when I was 2 days old.
We just wanted a baby that would be healthy, could be ours legally, and we didn't care about skin color.
I never really had the ability to distinguish my skin color and how my skin color was different from other folks around me, even my parents.
When you're Caucasian parents, you may go into it thinking on some level that you understand the concept of color blindness. And superficially, we were terrific, but we didn't understand what it's like to be black in America, what it's like to grow up in a transracial family.
What did you want to do when you were a kid?
There was a time, actually, I wanted to be a police officer, and I was one for Halloween.
Alex Landau's attitude about police changed in January 2009. He was 19 and about to start a new semester at community college in Denver, Colorado. Late one evening, he and a friend decided to go get burgers. When police pulled over their car for an alleged illegal left turn, trouble escalated quickly.
I assumed being out of handcuffs that I could have an interaction with these law enforcement officers. I asked if I could see a warrant before they continued searching my car. However, these officers immediately became irate and began to punch me in the face.
I was like right in this area, facing underneath my car, and I could just feel the gun pressed to the side of my head. And then when I regained consciousness, they rolled me out by my ankles and dragged me across the grass, and then let me bleed on an officer's jacket until the paramedics arrived.
Alex was taken to hospital, but insisted on being photographed before receiving treatment.
And so after the photos were taken, I received 45 stitches. I was treated for a broken nose, diagnosed with a concussion, and later with a brain injury.
Alex spent 2 days in jail. When he was released, he and his father, Steve, rushed to the Denver Police Internal Affairs Bureau to file a complaint.
I just felt like it was turning into them trying to cover themselves up even at that point. I mean, I grew up as a son of a policeman, and I sort of know how they act.
Alex filed a civil lawsuit against the city, winning a settlement of nearly $800,000. The announcement came on his 21st birthday in May 2011. It took months for Alex to recover and start processing what had happened.
I'm a different person because of that night, and it totally changed the trajectory of my life.
Now 29, Alex does community outreach for the Colorado Criminal Justice Reform Coalition. He also leads criminal justice workshops at high schools and his former college. Alex recounts how he was racially profiled by police and later won a settlement. But he makes this point.
Money has nothing to do with justice. You cannot ever put a number, a monetary number, on what your life is worth, what my life is worth.
His parents blame themselves for not being able to protect Alex. They wonder if they should have known more or done more. But Alex believes he would have faced the same risks if he was raised by African-American parents.
You both are my parents, you know, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Mr. Officer, I'm watching you. I'll take the badge off of you. Clobber you in court, and now the press wants to talk to you. You got me so stressed, and yet I'm so blessed.
Well, in Friday's final adoption series report, Angela Tucker says she felt incomplete growing up, even amid a big family with other siblings, some white, some black, and adopted like herself. That changed after she found her birth mother at age 26. Tucker says the discovery helped me feel more whole. At the Seattle Adoption Agency where she works, Tucker has started a mentorship program to help young adoptees build their own strong identities. Be sure to join us on Friday for our adoption series finale. Well, Africa's technology scene continues to grow, with millions of people across the continent gaining access to mobile and internet technology. Analysts say that for a continent with the youngest population in the world, the prospects of what has been called the Fourth Industrial Revolution mean that it will be able to address its high levels of youth unemployment. VOA's Jackson Vunganyo reports that in many places, digital technology is reshaping the job market and helping to unleash the economic potential of Africa's youth.
Development experts say that the majority of countries across the African continent are on the verge of a tech-driven transformation. Numbers show that more people, especially the youth, continue to gain access to mobile technology, and internet penetration is projected to see a growth of over 130% by the year 2025. There's no doubt that this level of access to knowledge and information presents the population on the continent with more opportunities to solve some of its challenges in sectors like education and healthcare. Most importantly, technology presents the potential to solve Africa's persistent youth unemployment problem. And in many places, there are signs that this is already starting to happen. From Lagos to Nairobi, the continent hosts over 400 tech hubs, where thousands of the continent's young entrepreneurs are taking inspiration from places as far as the Silicon Valley in California. They are creating startups with the primary purpose of providing solutions to both local and global challenges. And for the last 6 years, 30 of these top entrepreneurs are selected by Demo Africa, a launchpad for African startups. At their annual event, they get to showcase their ideas in front of an audience and a panel of expert judges. This year's Demo Africa was held in Morocco's city of Casablanca. It was the first time the annual event was brought to North Africa. Perhaps a fitting tribute to the fact that Morocco just rejoined the African Union after a 33-year absence.
Understanding.
And for the first 2 days, the entrepreneurs are taken through a startup boot camp where they spend a rigorous day learning about the various aspects related to business management from industry experts and veteran entrepreneurs.
Out of every company in my portfolio, some of them are demo.
Stephen Ozoigbo heads the African Technology Foundation, a Silicon Valley-based corporation that seeks to connect African technologies to the global entrepreneurial and investment ecosystem. He says that as the world gets ready for the fourth industrial revolution, the future of tech is in Africa.
Africa is the future because this is the youngest continent. This is one of the most populous continents, and more importantly, this is where the next industrial revolution will be most accelerated and heaviest in terms of adoption and commercialization. By the end of this event, we hope to have moved the conversation forward just a little bit and really get some investments into some of these startups, allow some of these startups to get globalized, allow them to have deeper and better technology resources, allow them to build partnerships with corporates and other investors around the world, but more importantly, give them a platform to tell their stories, connect to their customers, build their markets. These are all the targets that we have every year with Demo.
Over the last 6 years, Demo Africa has connected over 3,000 young African tech entrepreneurs like the ones at this year's showcase with others around the world. They hope to gain knowledge and investment.
Bronco, you guys have doubts.
One of the people behind this initiative is Thomas DeBass. He is the acting special representative for global partnerships at the State Department. In 2012, his office partnered with other organizations to launch the Lions at Africa initiative with the goal of helping 100,000 African entrepreneurs launch and expand technology-based businesses by 2020.
What I have seen from the last 6 years is that the type of talent, the type of startups that are coming to Demo, their robustness, their experience, and the quality of ideas that they're putting it out is a lot more global, in a sense. They're not just solving their local challenges, but they're solving global challenges that are not unique to Africa. And that's the beauty of the startup scene, is that if you're creating enterprises that solves real-world problems, then it has an opportunity and promise to be expanded in any market, whether it's in Asia, whether it's Europe, whether it's Latin America, whether America. The entire globe is your marketplace.
This year's top winner was Khadija Jaluli, a social innovator whose startup company Hoka is building an electric car for people with reduced mobility. She will be joining 4 other startups on a trip to the Silicon Valley in California to participate in the 2019 edition of the Lions at Africa Innovation Tour. For Voice of America, I'm Jackson Vunganyi.
Well, after a diagnosis of breast cancer, many women have surgery followed by chemotherapy and radiation. But a new study shows that if it's caught early enough, women might be able to avoid the chemotherapy. VOA's Carol Pearson has more.
Since she was diagnosed with breast cancer last April, Amy Adam values family time even more.
When it comes down to it, family is what matters. And so they all kind of came together and made sure I was taken care of.
It's my medical journal.
Adam was lucky. A mammogram caught her cancer early, when the tumor was just 3 by 4 millimeters, smaller than the size of a pencil eraser. Her treatment? A lumpectomy, followed by radiation.
No chemo. Did not have chemo.
At the University of Missouri Healthcare, Dr. Emily Albright says more women with early-stage breast cancer may be able to skip chemotherapy. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine shows that genetic testing can determine the likelihood of the cancer returning. The study found women with a low risk of the cancer recurring didn't benefit from chemotherapy. Women with a high risk of recurrence do better with chemotherapy, but doctors didn't know how to advise women in the mid-range.
The recent results have clarified that for women at intermediate risk of recurrence, the majority of those do not benefit from chemotherapy.
Most people know that nausea, hair loss, and fatigue result from chemotherapy, but chemotherapy can also cause heart and nerve damage. The study could spare countless low and medium risk patients whose cancer is caught early from having to endure chemotherapy.
As we learn more about the biology, we're able to tailor treatments to the specific type of tumor that a patient has. So there are some small tumors that may be more aggressive, and there may be some larger tumors that are less aggressive.
Screening was key in catching Adam's cancer early. Mammograms can detect a lump 2 years before a woman can even feel it. Adams says it was a huge relief not to have to undergo chemotherapy.
Yeah, come on down. How are you today? Good.
Because of this study, more women will be able to get treated without its negative side effects. Carol Pearson, VOA News.
Well, Thursday is Thanksgiving Day, a federal holiday in the United States. Volunteers have been preparing for the Thanksgiving holiday on Skid Row in Los Angeles, the downtown neighborhood where thousands of homeless people live in parks and tents. VOA's Michael Sullivan spoke with volunteers in the shelter kitchen where the holiday meal is being prepared.
On the streets, it's a harsh reality, with the homeless camping on the concrete. Inside, an industrial-scale kitchen is able to feed thousands with help from volunteers. On this day, they're employees of Wells Fargo, a financial services company. They're getting tips from kitchen staff at the Los Angeles Mission, a Christian charity.
This is my first time. I don't know if this is the best thing to do.
Pies will be readied and stored to be baked on the day of the annual holiday dinner.
We are preparing for our Thanksgiving meal. Today we're making sweet potato pies from scratch. We're making our crust from scratch as well as the filling.
600 pies, dessert for 4,000. This after they finish their turkey with all the usual holiday dishes.
And then over here, we're working on our cornbread stuffing.
This volunteer is pleased her company helps with a volunteer program.
Allow us to come here to support with the community and get a chance to work in others and help others. I'm glad to be here today.
Another full-time banker, now a part-time kitchen worker, is also glad to pitch in.
And give back a little bit, right? Yeah. No, this is great. I'm glad we could do this.
The chef overseeing the kitchen understands homelessness. He spent 5 years on the streets himself.
You know, at the time that I became homeless, it was the housing market crashed. There were a lot of things going on. I went through a divorce. I just made some poor decisions.
He got help and is now helping others get a hot meal and support so they can turn their lives around. It's help that's needed every day, including Thanksgiving. Mike O'Sullivan, VOA News, Los Angeles.
Welcome back to Africa 54, and here's what's trending. From a pavilion made of recycled tires to lights powered by human breath, Dubai is showcasing cutting-edge designs from across the globe. Dubai Design Week has attracted the world's best and brightest to showcase a mixture of contemporary design from both the Middle East and further afield. At the center of the event is Downtown Design, a trade show featuring 175 international design brands. The hall is a mix of innovative installations as much as a showcase of the latest trends in home designs. Well, and that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC, and in the mornings to Daybreak Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks a lot for watching from all of us in Washington. Have a good night.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Woodwork is any part of a house or building that is made of wood.
Crawl out of the woodwork.
This expression sounds troubling.
I won! I have the winning lottery ticket.
Oh, that's great. How much money did you win?
I won $25,000. But please, don't tell anyone.